This must be it. Pretty out of the way. Mr. Blake?
Yes?
My name's Brent Halligan. I'm a detective from Scotland Yard. I have a few questions I need to ask you.
Scotland Yard? What's this about? Is something wrong?
I'd rather we discuss this in private. Do you mind if I come in?
I'm not sure. What's happened? Is there a problem with one of my publications?
No, sir. I'm investigating a murder case. Perhaps you could help me? It really won't take very long.
Murder? How awful. But what's it got to do with me?
Mr. Blake, I'd really prefer it if we could go somewhere a little more private. May I come in?
Well, yes, certainly. Come on in.
That's a pretty good map of the world, considering how old it is. You're the author of a book on Druids, am I right?
Yes, you're correct. In fact, I'm just working on a revised version for the next edition. But what makes you so interested in my book?
I'm currently investigating a series of murders in London. I've made some interesting discoveries that I'd like to discuss with you.
What series of murders are we talking about?
The skeleton murders. You may have read about them in the papers.
Oh, yes. Of course. A terrible business.
Mr. Blake, I believe there may be some sort of ritual behind these murders.
Well, what makes you think that?
Dr. Turner from the Anthropological Museum in Oxford examined one of the last victim's bones for me. She found residual traces of gold on it and round notches.
Round notches, you say?
Yes. Does that mean anything to you? Doesn't your book on Druids mention ritual killings for which a golden sickle was used?
True. Are you saying these murders are based on the same ritual?
That's what I've come to ask you.
But that's impossible. It can't be true. It's... My God. It would be unthinkable. It would confirm all my translations. I've been researching the history of the Druids for 30 years now, but I've never yet found proof of my greatest fears.
Your greatest fears?
Yes, the perfection of the final ritual, the final confirmation of the Druids' power.
What's this final ritual all about?
This is the text I wrote down during my travels through England and France. You know, when you travel through the country, you can feel that many locals still believe in the old Celtic customs. A group of farmers in the south of England let me copy the inscriptions on a megalith that stands in a field there. They claim that there used to be a huge Druid temple close to their house, but there's nothing left of it now. Whatever. I managed to translate the text, at least in part.
Okay, Mr. Blake, please come to the point. What does it say?
It says that the last of the Druids saw the fall of their priesthood coming in the year 1000 AD. In the confusion surrounding the final destruction of the Order, a demonic superior Druid seized power, using his knowledge of Druid magic, not for the good of his people and to honor the gods, but to submit all of mankind to his rule. In order to secure the survival of the Druids' tradition, and to complete his devilish work, he organized a final ritual, transferring the knowledge and power of the last of the Druids to 5 infants. These infants have always been referred to as the inheritors.
Go on.
The inscription says that the ritual was not entirely completed. I've not yet been able to discover why. But from what I've learnt, the inheritors are strong and powerful enough to one day complete the ritual by themselves.
Right. But what have these murders got to do with the myth?
Well, that's just it, Mr. Halligan. I haven't told you the whole story yet.
There's more?
Yes. The inscriptions explain that the Druids' inheritors require the life force of other people to complete the ritual.
I see. And how do they do that?
According to legend, the flesh has to be cut off the bones of living humans and to be eaten. Only then can their life force be transferred.
You mean the victims of these skeleton murders were practically eaten alive by cannibals?
By Druids. Yes.
I don't believe it.
The worst is yet to come, Mr. Halligan.
What? What could possibly be worse than that?
If such skeletons have been found in London, bearing marks of a golden sickle, it can only mean one thing. The inheritors are preparing for the perfection of their final ritual.
Which means?
The myth says, once the ritual has been completed, the world will become a place governed by evil. Dark magic will be unleashed upon the world, and mankind will have but one choice: to obey or to die.
Great. And you really believe all that?
I believe it's possible. You know, Mr. Halligan, I'm not a superstitious man, but I've spent enough time studying Druidism to know that more goes on between heaven and earth than we can possibly imagine.
I quite agree.
You see, and the skeletons that have been found within the past few months fit in perfectly with the Druids' sacrificial rites. The day of the ritual's perfection is drawing near. Of that I'm certain. What we're looking at right now is just the beginning. Before we're through, more people will die, and the inheritors will soon be strong enough.
What can we do about it?
Time is running out, Mr. Halligan. You must find the inheritors and put them out of action.
That's an easy thing to say, but how can I?
There may be a way. During my latest research, I came across something very interesting. If the story I've heard is true, then there's a certain item that was extremely important for the ritual 1,000 years ago.
What is it?
A piece of jewelry mentioned in the old inscriptions. The Amulet of Transformation. You should try to gain possession of that amulet.
The Amulet of Transformation? What's its purpose?
I don't know, Mr. Halligan. Nobody does. All I do know is that the myth says it's important for the completion of the ritual. If you find the amulet, you may be able to prevent the ritual.
How did you find out about the amulet?
My work led to the discovery of a connection between the Druids of Gaul and Britain. It seems there was a small group of British Druids who fled to France when the ritual failed.
What for?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to save the amulet. I found out that a 13th century despotic French nobleman somehow gained possession of the amulet. I found a picture of him in an old archive.
Really? Let me see. Well, he doesn't look particularly friendly. Was he a druid?
Well, he must have had something to do with the Druids, but I really can't tell you how he gained possession of the amulet. However, he is the only clue that I can possibly give you as to the whereabouts of the amulet. I suggest that you make your way to Carmore. With any luck, you may find more clues leading to the amulet there.
All right, Mr. Blake. I'll get going immediately.
Take care of yourself, Mr. Halligan. Good luck. Well, what can I do for you? You can ask me anything you want.
Tell me, Mr. Blake, why are you in a wheelchair?
Oh, that's a sad story. I was attacked a few years back.
Attacked? Who by?
I don't know. It was after an autograph session for my first book about the Druids. A group of men were lying in wait for me and beat me up.
Why? Had you had a disagreement with someone?
No, not that I know of. They just beat me up. Without warning, and without saying a single word. Then they left me lying there, calm as anything. They just strolled away.
That's terrible. Who could they have been? Do you know what they looked like?
They were dressed all in black and wearing dark sunglasses. That's all I remember. It all happened so fast.
And you've been in a wheelchair ever since?
Yes. I can't drive anymore, and I find my work very strenuous. I'll be grateful if I ever manage to finish my new book.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. That's all for now.
You're welcome, Mr. Halligan. Good luck.
Good day to you, monsieur.
Shush, 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 silence.
Tell me, my good man, which way is the castle?
Castle? Oh, you mean the burnt down mound of rubble on the outskirts of the village, I suppose?
Yes, that's it.
What do you want to go there for? There's nothing to see there.
I just want to take a look around. So, which way do I go?
Oh, that's simple. Just follow the road through the village, past the crossroads, and straight ahead. Keep going for about 3 kilometers, and you can't miss it.
It's me again.
Quiet. My God, haven't you been listening? I'm trying to catch fish, my friend.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Well, how do you like the area? Have you explored it yet?
Not really, to be honest.
Aha. Then what are you doing here again? Trying to scare the fish away, hmm?
No. There were just a few points I wanted to clear up.
Very well. But keep your voice down, will you?
Certainly. Tell me, my good man.
Castle?
Yes.
What do you...
I just wanted...
Oh, keep going.
What do you know about the castle?
Not much. It's supposed to have belonged to a rich family around here many centuries ago. As a child, I used to play in the ruins with my friends. But it's not really safe to go walking around in the rubble.
Why is that?
It's in danger of collapsing, my friend. Anyway, it's pretty creepy out there, especially in the cemetery. There's not much left of the castle nowadays. Local farmers use the ruin as a quarry when they need stones for their houses. There's just a few bits of rubble left, that's all.
Have you ever heard of the Lord of the Castle of Carmore?
Yes, of course. My parents used to tell me about him in order to scare me when I wouldn't go to bed. For the children of Carmore, the Lord was a kind of bogeyman, you know. Our parents used to tell us horror stories about him.
What did they say?
That villagers used to vanish, that the Lord would catch and kill little children. They told me, Pierre, sleep now, or the Lord will come and get you. I remember it as if it had been yesterday.
Have you ever been to the castle as an adult?
Yes, a couple of times. We needed stones for our new stable. But I don't mind telling you, I wasn't too happy out there.
What did people believe would happen if the Lord came to get you?
You'd be killed and fed to the Lord's hounds. At least, that's what my parents told me.
That's not much of a bedtime story to tell a small boy.
True, but it worked. We kept away from the castle after dark, believe me.
Was the Lord such an evil character then?
Oh, yes, so I've heard. They say he murdered his entire family, not to mention half the household. He was a madman, but I don't remember many details of the old stories.
So the castle burnt down, did it?
Yes, that's right. I think it happened in some war or other, during the Inquisition. But that was hundreds of years ago.
I have to go. Good luck with your fishing.
Thank you, thank you.
Hello, Captain.
Bonjour.
When are you leaving for Portsmouth?
In 2 hours. Are you coming?
No, I think I'll stay here for a bit.
Very well.
Hello, Captain.
Bonjour.
Do you know the castle of Carmore? I say.
I might.
Well, do you know the castle or don't you? You're not being very talkative.
No.
Oh, well, thanks for the conversation.
You're welcome.
This must be the castle. Or rather, what's left of it. Pretty creepy. I'm back.
Damn quiet, I said. Are you trying to frighten the fish off?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I was miles away. I've had a look round the area. I've been to the ruin.
And? What do you think of our little village?
It's nice. But I've got a few more questions regarding our last tour.
Oh? Well, go ahead and ask. But please,
Quietly. Right?
precisely, my friend. You learn quickly.
I'd like to speak to you about fishing.
What would you like to know?
I like your fishing rod. It's a beauty.
Yes, nice, isn't it? It's an enhanced fiberglass telescope ultralight 47. The latest model.
What are you planning to catch?
You may not believe me, but I've caught all kinds of things here. You know, I've caught pike 5 meters long, with eyes like plates and razor-sharp teeth. That's why I bought this rod. The last one was pulled clean out of my hands by one of those beasts.
You expect me to believe that?
Of course, it's the truth. I swear it. I even had some photos of one of those fish, but I'm afraid I lost them. They fell into the water, right here.
And now there's not a shred of evidence to support your story. That is a pity.
Don't you believe me? Ask Capitaine Deneuve. He will confirm it. I often show him the fish that I catch.
Capitaine Deneuve? Who's that?
Oh, you don't know him? He captains the ferry that brought you here. He's over there, on board. He's experienced a lot and has been all over the place. He knows a lot of stories. Incredible stories.
Oh? Like what, for example?
You'll have to ask him that yourself. I never really listen properly when he starts spinning his yarns. He's bound to tell you a story or two. You just have to know how to deal with him.
How to deal with him? What do you mean?
Not so loud, please.
Because of the fish?
No, because of Capitaine Deneuve. He might hear us.
And?
Look, I'll tell you something. Deneuve's a bit strange. He insists on being addressed by his title. It's how do you call it? A peculiarity of his.
Oh? Why is that?
He's an old sea dog from a real old seafaring family. Some ancestor of his served in Napoleon's fleet. He himself used to go out to sea doing the real thing. Got a master's certificate and all that. Seen the world, so he says. These days he just captains the ferry. But he still insists on people using his title. He says his rank should still command people's respect.
Oh, well, if that's all, I don't mind. What do I have to call him then?
Monsieur le Capitaine Charles Deneuve. That's his full title. He'll appreciate that.
Got it. Thanks for the hint. I have to go. Good luck with your fishing.
Thank you, thank you.
Excuse me.
What?
You're Monsieur le Capitaine Charles Deneuve, aren't you?
Yes, that is correct, my boy. Charles Deneuve, Captain of the Merchant Navy of France. How do you know my name?
I've been talking to a friend of yours, the fisherman over there at the jetty.
Pierre? Ah, yes, old Pierre. I expect he has been telling you about his pike, the one that was 5 meters long.
Yes, he did. Pierre says you're from Carmont, like he is. Is that true?
Yes, that's right. I grew up here. As a youngster, I wanted to be a fisherman and used to work on my father's trawler. Later, I went to naval college to become a captain of the Merchant Navy of France. I have a small house at the end of the road, just behind Francois' Bistro.
You used to work for the Merchant Navy?
Yes. I have been to practically every single port all over the world, from New York to Zanzibar, from Rotterdam to Cape Town. I have sailed all known and unknown oceans, rivers, backwaters, lakes, and canals. I have seen things no other man on earth has ever seen.
Sounds exciting.
Yes. But all that was a long time ago. In a few years' time, I shall retire and begin working on my memoirs.
Your memoirs? That sounds interesting.
Oh, yes, my boy. I've seen a lot, you know. Disasters, storm tides, elements, mysteries.
Really? Won't you tell me more?
I have seen ships disappear in the Bermuda Triangle. I saw the Prince of Egypt sink. I witnessed the accident of the Pride of Paris in Cape Town Harbor.
You were in all those places?
Of course. And that's not all. I have seen tsunamis 40 meters high and octopuses with 16 tentacles.
I thought octopuses only had 8 tentacles.
Quite, my boy, quite. I have seen things a common landlubber, no offense, my boy, cannot even begin to imagine. Octopuses with twice the normal number of tentacles. What do you say to that?
Well, that's quite incredible. Do you know any more stories?
Of course, my logs are full of them. Take the story of Nantucket Island, for instance. I was stranded there for a number of years. Would you like to hear it?
Is it a long story?
Like I said, I spent a number of years there.
Some other time, maybe. Thank you, Monsieur le Capitaine. You've been a great help.
You're welcome, my boy.
Monsieur le Capitaine?
What can I do for you?
I've got a few more questions concerning our last conversation.
All right. Ask me anything you like, my boy.
Pierre says you...
Yes, later I have a...
Tell me more about Pierre.
I meet him almost every day. He doesn't have much to do these days. Not since the fishing industry went down the drain.
So he's a fisherman, is he?
He used to have 3 trawlers and 5 employees. But nobody wants French fish anymore these days. They're too expensive. Now he spends his days sitting at the jetty, catching a few fish for himself and his friends to eat. They meet round at his place practically every evening and talk about old times, when they used to go out on their trawlers every day.
How long does he sit there fishing?
Until I come back with my last load of passengers. Since he's had that fishing rod, he sometimes sits there even longer. If I have time, we go over to Francois's place when I'm finished for the day.
Doesn't he have anything better to do?
No, not much. None of the villagers here has much to do, since business is so bad nowadays. Pierre has a small farm which supplies him with all he needs. A few years back, he built himself a small stable next to his house, where he keeps a few animals. His life is rather boring, really. That's why he's always pleased when I tell him a few stories.
Thank you, Monsieur le Capitaine. You've been a great help.
You're welcome, my boy.
Monsieur le Capitaine?
What can I do for you?
I've got a few more questions concerning...
All right. Ask me anything you like, my boy.
Pierre says you're from Carmore, like here.
Yes, that's... Later I went to Naval I have a small house...
You used...
Yeah, I have seen...
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, but all that...
You're...
No,
Really?
I have...
You were in all those places?
Of course.
I thought
Quite octopus. What do you...
Well, that's quite... What do you know about the castle of Carmore?
The castle. The castle is shrouded in greater mystery than the darkest secrets I have ever experienced or heard of.
That's saying something.
Precisely, my boy. After all, I have seen and heard more than most mortals could ever dream of. But none of it is as mysterious as the story of the castle of Carmore and its evil owner.
Tell me more about the castle.
The castle of Carmore was once the home of a good and righteous lord. Around 1000 AD, the Druids came there. You've heard of the Druids, I take it?
Oh, yes. Quite a lot, in fact. Go on. Where did these Druids come from?
They were the last of the Druids from Britain.
Really?
Yes, really, my boy.
Do you know why they came to the castle?
They entrusted the Lord and his family with the safekeeping of something of great value to them.
What was it?
Nobody ever found out, my boy.
All right, what happened then?
The item remained in the family's possession for generations. But then the castle went to a descendant of the family who was not good and righteous, but cruel and mean. The evil lord of Carmore.
Was that what he was called?
That's what he has been called for centuries. He was a tyrant and a murderer. He enjoyed killing and held satanic ceremonies at the castle. Villagers would disappear from Carmore and never be seen again. They say he was executed during the Inquisition.
What do you mean, they say? Was he or wasn't he?
No. I know the true story. The castle was destroyed before the Inquisition ever began.
But how?
The truth was told in a very old Breton legend.
And?
One day, a salt seller by the name of Gergan came to the castle of Carmore and asked the evil lord for a drink of water. But the lord set his dogs on the man.
Go on.
Out of revenge for the lord's cruelty, Gergan hurled a handful of salt at the castle, which tumbled down immediately, burying the lord beneath it.
But why?
It was an ancient druid curse.
The salt seller had knowledge of Druid customs.
Well, he certainly knew how to use the magic that druids employed to deal with their enemies.
How can salt destroy a whole castle?
Through the magic of the druids. Salt is a destructive element. It corrodes, it decomposes, it parches. It can make people die of thirst.
So the evil lord died.
Yes. He's buried in the mausoleum in the castle cemetery.
How do you know all this?
From age-old stories that people tell around here. Children heard them from their parents, who in turn had been told them by their own parents. They were handed down through the generations. Sometimes, people even come here from town. People like you, asking about the old stories. Writers, researchers, all sorts. We even had a real aristocrat here from England once. He was very interested in the castle.
Do you know his name?
No, I've forgotten. It was quite a while ago.
What did the man want?
He said he'd lost something out at the ruin. A necklace, a family heirloom. It seems to have been very important to him. The 5 of them spent days searching the ruins.
5?
Yes, there were 5 of them. They rented rooms above the bistro. 5 bigwigs in smart suits. One even had a uniform on.
Did they find the necklace?
No, I don't think so. They left after a couple of days.
Interesting. Thank you, Monsieur le Capitaine. You've been a great help.
You're welcome, my boy.
Of course, it can't work like that. I'd better not light that. That won't get me any further. It won't work like that. Now I've got a clipboard with the form for information procurement. I don't believe it will work like that. My case file. That won't help either. I'd better not light that. It's locked. It's locked. A gravestone. There's a hollow at the top. There's a hollow at a gravestone. There's a hollow at the top. The door's walled up. A gravestone. Pretty weather-beaten. There's a hollow at the... There's a hollow at the top. A gravestone. 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 There's a hollow at the top. There's a hollow at the top. A gravestone. There's a hollow at the top. A gravestone. There's a hollow at the top. A gravestone. There's a gravestone. The door's walled up. There's a gravestone. There's a hollow. A gravestone. There's a gravestone. There's a gravestone. A tower. This castle must have been a real fortress before it collapsed. Looks like this used to be a tower, but it's collapsed. Looks like this used to be a tower. Excuse me, Pierre.
Yes? Now what?
I'd like to ask you something about Capitaine de Neuve.
Have you spoken to him?
Yes, I have. And you were right. He's a very strange man. Can you really believe everything he says?
Well, I'm not sure, quite honestly. He's a sailor, and they're always full of stories. 50 years at sea are a long time. Enough time to experience a great deal, and for a lot of things to become a bit muddled up in one's mind.
He certainly seems to say some strange things.
I don't think all his stories are true, but there's a core of truth in many of them. You'll have to make up your own mind which of his stories to believe.
Why does he only captain a small ferry nowadays?
He used to command a large merchant ship, but then he was dismissed. I think it was because he drank. He missed Cape Town harbour in the fog.
That could have happened to anyone. Drink or no drink.
Yes, but it so happens that with him, it was drink. He was actually seeing double. In the fog, he saw the shadowy outlines of two bays and ordered his helmsman to set course for the one on the right.
And that was the wrong one?
Exactly. There was no right-hand bay. The port had one bay, not two. But you'd better keep that to yourself. He gets pretty embarrassed if anyone mentions it.
I understand. Is he a friend of yours?
Friend? Well, I've seen him almost every day for a number of years. He captains the ferry, I do my fishing. When he's finished for the day, we sometimes go over to the bistro for a glass of pastis. Yes, now I come to think of it, I suppose we are friends.
Do you get on well with each other? I should think it's pretty difficult being friends with a man like him.
Oh, we get on rather well, really. We don't talk much, you know. If anything, he does the talking, spins his yarns. The only thing about him that sometimes drives me crazy is his damned cat.
The captain has a cat.
Yes, he lets her out here on the jetty in the morning and takes her back in at night. And the damned beast spends all day slinking around here.
You don't like cats?
I hate cats. They steal the fish from my bucket or get tangled up in my fishing line. The nervous creature has often knocked my bucket of bait over, and I've had to go and get some more. I've told him hundreds of times to take the animal on the ferry with him, but he just won't do it.
I'd like to speak to you about the castle of Carmore.
I've told you all I know about it.
Have you ever heard of the Lord of the Castle of Carmore?
My parents, for the
I have to go. Good luck with your fishing.
Thank you, thank you.
Excuse me, Pierre.
Yes? Now what?
I'd like to speak to you about fishing.
What would you like to know?
Are there many fish here? Have you caught...
When it is quiet enough, then I catch quite a few, so please speak quietly.
Why? The fish have such good ears.
You bet. A single murmur and I'll have to sit here for an hour longer waiting for them.
What do you do with the fish?
Well, what do you think? I throw the little ones back in, and the big ones get eaten.
You eat these fish?
Of course. Why not?
Well, this water looks pretty murky to me.
No. This water is clean, and the fish are first class. Carmore used to be famous for its fishing industry, you know.
But they didn't fish with rods, did they?
Certainly not. There used to be a whole fleet of trawlers. But practically all the fishing businesses around here were forced to close down a while back.
Why are you fishing right here?
The ship's propellers whirl up a lot of plankton, which attracts the fish. Once the ferry has settled, I can often get a good catch.
Isn't this rather a noisy place for the fish?
No. The only time it's noisy is when the ferry's in. Other than that, it's really quiet. Unless, of course, people come up and bother me with too many questions, my friend.
I like your fishing rod.
Yes, nice, isn't it? It's an enhanced fiberglass telescope ultralight 47, the latest model.
Could you give me one of your fish?
On a normal day, I would, but I just haven't been able to catch enough today.
How many fish have you caught?
Well, not a single one, my friend.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, precisely. I must try to catch some now, otherwise I will have nothing to offer this evening.
You're planning to sell the fish?
No. I have visitors coming this evening, you understand?
I see. I suppose there's nothing doing then.
Sorry. Why don't you just buy a fishing rod of your own and come and join me? Who knows? If you're nice and quiet, you may be lucky.
Do you mind if I hold your fishing rod for a while?
Sorry, my friend. It was very expensive. I spent 800 francs on it, and I'm not going to let anyone else touch it.
I have to go. Good luck with your fishing.
Thank you.
I take it these drums contain fuel. Monsieur le Capitaine,
What can I do for you?
I've got a few more questions concerning our last conversation.
All right. Ask me anything you like, my boy.
No, I've changed my mind.
What? Well, it's up to you.
No offense.
None taken, my boy.
Monsieur le Capitaine,
What can I do for you?
when are you leaving for Portsmouth?
In 2 hours. Are you coming?
Yes.
Then come aboard.